I was 22 back then, living alone for the first time in my life. Rented this old one-story house out in the edge of Fairhope, Alabama. Nothing fancy. Paint was peeling. Floors creaked like hell. But rent was dirt cheap and I was broke and newly single. It was just me, a mattress on the floor, and a busted-ass TV that barely got local channels. I was happy. At first, I moved in the first week of July. The landlord was some crusty old dude who handed me the keys and said, "Don't go digging in the crawl space. Wires are loose and squirrels will chew your hand off." I laughed. He didn't. Didn't think much of it. Just southern landlord weirdness. The place had this weird vinyl siding all around the base of the house. You know, that cheap plastic stuff they slap on to cover up how old the foundation really is. Well, behind it was a crawl space, pitch black. No real access point except this one warped panel near the back porch that wasn't nailed on properly. Every time the wind kicked up, that piece flapped like a damn flag. That's where it started. I started noticing the noises my first week. Thought it was possums or raccoons or hell. Even squirrels like the old guy said. But it wasn't scratching like claws. It was slower, like fingers dragging across wood. Sometimes it'd stop right when I moved. Other times it kept going. Like whoever or whatever it was didn't give a damn if I heard them. One night, I was brushing my teeth and heard something shuffle under the bathroom floor. I stomped. Silence. Then this soft tablet tap, tap in response. I stood there, toothbrush in hand, just frozen. A few nights later, I was outside smoking. It was muggy, no breeze, air just thick with sweat. I walked around to the back where the warped siding panel was, just to get away from the porch light. That's when I saw it. There was a hole in the vinyl, about the size of a quarter, and there was a damn eye looking through it. Not a rat, not a cat, a human eye, just one, dead still, no blinking. I backed away so fast I nearly tripped over the steps. When I looked again, it was gone. I thought about calling the cops, but what was I gonna say? "Hey officer, someone's eyeball was peeking at me through my house?" I told myself it was just a trick of the light, sleep deprivation, stress. But I boarded up that panel the next morning. I started keeping a baseball bat next to my bed. Not that it made me feel better. That next week I started hearing something at night. Not under the house, inside. It wasn't loud. It was this faint voice whispering, but it wasn't words I could understand. Just this low murmur, like a broken radio stuck between stations. Sometimes it'd laugh. The laugh didn't sound right. It was too dry, like someone who hadn't used their throat in years. And sometimes it'd say my name. I swear to God, I'd be half asleep and I'd hear Travis in this cracked whisper, like someone right behind my head. I stopped sleeping. I drank. I left the lights on. I kept the TV running static just so there was noise. Silence scared me more than anything. The night it got real bad, it was storming. Heavy rain, wind throwing branches across the roof. Power flickered twice and then cut out completely. I grabbed my flashlight and sat on the couch like an idiot, praying for it to come back. The whole place felt wet. You know that sticky air feeling where it's like the walls are breathing? Then I heard it. The panel outside, flapping, slamming, then ripped, and then footsteps under the floor. Heavy ones, not crawling, walking. I stood up and aimed my flashlight at the kitchen, heart hammering like a damn drumline. The floor vent rattled, then something pulled it off from below. I dropped the flashlight. By the time I picked it back up, I saw a hand. Grey, veiny, fingers like sticks, gripping the edge of the vent. I didn't wait. I ran, barefoot, no phone. I jumped in my car and reversed so fast I clipped the mailbox. I stayed at a friend's house that night, told him everything. He didn't laugh. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dude, I think I know that place. Turns out the house used to be a halfway home back in the 80s. A guy named Ray Liddell went missing from there. One night, he just vanished. They searched the woods, the bayou, everything. No trace. They assumed he walked off and drowned. But years later, a plumber swore he saw someone crawling under the floorboards while replacing pipes. He called the cops. They found old bones, but not enough to make a full skeleton. No one ever ID'd them. And here's the part that makes my stomach churn. When I finally went back, broad daylight, 4 people with me, we opened that crawl space. It was lined with ripped clothing, dozens of shirts, pants, socks, all kids' sizes, and one dirty work badge from 1988. The name on it? Ray Liddell. Now I live in an apartment, 3rd floor, no crawl space, no basement. I don't go outside after midnight, ever. But sometimes, when the AC vent kicks on and I'm lying in bed, I swear I hear it again. Tap, 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 and then a voice. Travis? I don't tell people this story often. Not because I'm worried they won't believe me, but because it never ends the way people want it to. There's no neat little bow, no satisfying aha moment. Just 4 of us going into the forest and 3 of us coming out. I was 22 when it happened, August 2018. Me, my best friend Cody, his girlfriend Paige, and her cousin Nate decided to do a weekend camping trip out in the Olympic National Forest. Cody had this idea of finding a spot way off trail, like real wilderness camping, no cell signal, no crowds. In hindsight, that was the worst idea he ever had. We parked at this random access point and hiked about 6 miles in. It was thick forest, tall pines, mossy ground, a stream nearby. It was beautiful, untouched, perfect for the kind of dumb, adventurous trip Cody was into. We set up camp just before sunset. Small fire, cheap whiskey, stories about cryptids and ghosts. Typical. Nothing felt wrong that first night, except maybe the silence. Like no crickets, no frogs, just the wind and trees. It was weirdly still. Paige noticed it first. "You ever realize how quiet it is?" she asked. We all shrugged it off. Said the altitude or the season must have had something to do with it. We should have listened to that feeling. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to this weird thud, like someone stepping hard onto wet dirt. I figured maybe Nate had gotten up to pee or something, so I peeked outside. Nobody was up, but what I did see were footprints, big ones, human-looking, but barefoot, and way too far apart to be normal. They circled our tents, twice. I told myself maybe we were just seeing our own boot prints wrong in the moonlight. But they weren't boot prints. They were wide, flat, bare. I didn't wake anyone up. Just zipped up and laid there, eyes open till sunrise. The next morning I told Cody. He made jokes about Bigfoot naturally. But Nate, quiet, skeptical Nate, said he'd heard something too. Voices, he said, sounded like us, like someone out there was repeating things we said last night. We all laughed it off. Probably just forest acoustics, echoes. But that evening, we decided to try something. Cody yelled, "Hello!" into the woods. 5 seconds later, from deep in the trees, we heard it back. "Hello?" Only, it didn't sound like an echo. It was off. Like the syllables were stretched too long, the pitch slightly wrong, like someone trying to copy him. Paige said we should leave in the morning. Cody laughed it off again. But Nate and I, we were already packing our gear mentally. I couldn't sleep again. Around 1 a.m., I heard something brushing against the outside of my tent. Soft, like fingertips dragging across nylon. Then a tap on the zipper. I whispered Cody's name. He was in the next tent, but he didn't respond. Then came the voice. "Jeremy." It was my mom's voice, but drawn out, hollow, and it came from outside the tent. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. A few minutes later, I heard it walking. Not running, just slowly walking past the tent. Next morning, Nate was already tearing down his stuff. He was pale, shaking. I saw it, he said. We made him explain. He said he'd gotten up to piss and saw someone standing by the fire pit. Only it wasn't any of us. Tall, lanky, shoulders hunched, skin pale like a peeled banana. It was wearing clothes, but backwards. Then it turned around. Its face looked like someone had drawn human features with chalk, blurry, almost melting. No eyes, just black holes. Then it opened its mouth and let out a scream like a car crash mixed with a pig squeal. He ran back to the tent and didn't sleep at all. Cody called bullshit, but even Paige was scared now. We all agreed, pack out at dawn. We started hiking early. The woods felt heavier, like something was watching us. We kept hearing twigs breaking behind us, but never saw anything. Halfway through, Cody dropped his water bottle and bent to grab it. That's when I saw it again. About 30 yards back, behind a tree, a face just watching. I said nothing, just walked faster. We made it back to the car by 3 p.m. Relief, laughter, the usual adrenaline come down. But then, we realized something. Nate wasn't with us. We thought maybe he was just behind us. So we waited. 10 minutes, 20, an hour. We went back a mile, 2 miles, nothing. No sound, no sign. Cody kept calling his name, but the forest stayed quiet. Then, just as we turned to give up, "Nat!" from the woods, in Paige's voice. She screamed. We ran. Cops did a search the next day. Dogs, helicopters. They found his bag, zipped up, sitting on a tree stump 7 miles off trail, but no Nate. We never talked to the media, never told our parents the full truth. Cody got defensive. Paige got therapy. I moved across the damn country, but I still hike sometimes. Not in forests, not anymore, because I know what's out there. And sometimes, late at night, in places with no echoes, I still hear it. Jeremy. People think apartment buildings are safe, that you're surrounded by walls, neighbors, noise, and that makes you feel protected. That's what I thought too, until the woman in Unit 2B started watching me, and not through a window or peephole. I mean, she watched me from inside my apartment. In early 2021, I moved into a 1-bedroom on the 2nd floor of a 3-story building in Hyde Park, Chicago. Nothing fancy, just old brick, radiator heat, and creaky-ass floors. But rent was fair, neighbors were quiet, and the landlord lived upstairs. The first weird thing happened the day I moved in. I passed by Unit 2B and saw the door slightly open. Inside was pitch dark, not a single light. Then this voice, this weird, raspy voice, said from the dark, "You're late." I jumped and said, "Sorry?" No answer. Then the door creaked shut by itself. I figured maybe someone was messing with me, or maybe an elderly tenant with dementia. Told myself not to overthink it. My bedroom shared a wall with 2B. First few nights I started hearing weird sounds, like scratching, faint knocks, and the occasional whimper. It didn't sound like a TV. One night around 2 a.m., I heard what sounded like someone breathing, heavy, like panicked. I knocked on the wall and said, "You okay in there?" Instant silence. A few minutes later, I heard a voice from behind the wall. "Do you know who lives here?" I said, "You, right?" Then nothing. I went to bed uneasy as hell. I came home from work one night and found my apartment door unlocked. Now I'm 100% sure I locked it. I always lock it. especially in Chicago. I slowly opened it, holding pepper spray. Nothing looked moved, nothing was missing. But when I walked past my hallway mirror, I swear to God, I saw a face behind me. Pale, stretched, eyes too wide, black lips. But when I spun around, nothing. I slammed the door and didn't sleep that night. I called my landlord, Mr. Feldman, asked him who lived in 2B. He went quiet. Then he said, "Nobody. That unit's been empty since 2018. I laughed. That's not possible. I hear stuff every night. He just repeated himself. No one lives in 2B. I told him to come check. He agreed to meet the next morning. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to footsteps, but they weren't above me. They were in my apartment, soft steps like bare feet on hardwood. I sat up in bed, heart racing, holding my phone like a weapon. Then I saw her, standing in the doorway of my room. Long black hair, face pale and melted looking, like wax. Her eyes were too far apart, and her mouth moved even though she wasn't speaking. She pointed to the wall, the one connected to 2B. Then she backed into the hallway and vanished. Next morning I met Feldman. He brought a key to 2B. The unit was empty. Dust everywhere, smelled like old wood and cat piss. But here's the thing. There was no furniture, no signs of recent living. Yet carved into the floor near the wall shared with my apartment was one word: listen. Then we noticed the floorboard in the bedroom corner was loose. Feldman pried it open with a screwdriver. Underneath, a crawl space. Narrow, pitch black. And inside were two things: a mattress covered in claw marks and a mirror facing directly at the wall. I looked at Feldman. He just muttered, "This wasn't here before." I slept with the lights on. Still felt her. At 2:46 a.m., my radio came on by itself. Full static. Then, her voice. From the static. I never left. My bedroom light blew out. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and saw her face again in the mirror. Except it wasn't in the reflection. It was behind the glass. Then the glass cracked. I screamed, ran outside in my PJs, didn't care who saw me. I moved out the next day. Feldman called a week later. He had someone inspect the crawl space in 2B. They found bones, small, delicate, like they belonged to a child, dated back decades. Police ran a record check. The last confirmed tenant in 2B was a woman named Lilith Monroe, evicted in 1984 for keeping her dead daughter's body hidden in the crawl space. After claiming she was still alive behind the wall. No charges were filed, she disappeared. Some say she still lives there, just behind the mirrors. Now I moved to a high-rise. No shared walls, no hallway mirrors. But sometimes, when I walk past a window at night, I catch a glimpse of that pale face, just staring, waiting.